Matt McClure with Operator 11.
Matt.
We're actually live on the internet right now for people watching around the country.
Who don't have anything better to do.
They've got a lot better to do, but they wanted to come and watch AFI behind the scenes and talk a little bit about your film, Honeydripper, which is something that's I screened it earlier a couple weeks ago, and I felt like it was your baby, your soul. It was like your heart and soul you put into this.
Well, it was self-financed. We're self-distributing it. I wrote it, I directed it, and I edited it. And it's about music that I love. It's going to have a great soundtrack on Rhino. It's set in 1950 in a little Alabama crossroads town. Danny Glover's the star of it. Charles Dutton, incredible cast. And it was actually tough to make because we only had 5 weeks to shoot it. But with that many good actors around every day, there's the joy of seeing them work.
And how did you come up with this town? Where did you find this town to be the town to shoot at?
We did quite a scout. We went through a lot of states in the South that still grow cotton because we needed cotton fields for it. We were looking for a decommissioned Army base that we could use because it takes place at the very beginning of the Korean War. And then we needed some old kind of general stores that could be converted into clubs. And we finally settled on Alabama. Tommy Fell of the Alabama Film Commission was really helpful to us. And there we were. And we only had a very short window for the cotton to be up because they pick it awfully fast by machine now. It doesn't take the weeks that it used to.
I'm from Georgia, so I know all about that.
Yeah.
But so tell us, how did you come up with this whole... What inspired you to write this and come up with this project?
I think some of it is as I listened to rock and roll all over the years, it kind of spread out for me. Originally it's just what you hear on the radio, and then you say, well, where'd that come from? And where'd that come from? And wait a minute, there was something before what I know. I was born in 1950, so the first record I ever had was Hound Dog by Elvis Presley. But, you can follow that in a lot of directions. And I was interested in when was that moment? What was it like when all those musics that came before kind of coalesced into this thing that really was around for 6 or 7 years before anybody called it rock and roll?
Yeah, because you had explained that earlier, that Elvis is sort of credited for rock and roll, but that's not really the fact.
Well, he was certainly essential to getting it out to the world and the DJs who were pushing him and calling it rock and roll. But he was just one phenomenon. There's a song, Move It On Over, a Hank Williams song, in our movie, and if you listen to it carefully, it's Rock Around the Clock. And that's like 1947 or 48. So rockabilly kind of existed before it got called that. Rhythm and blues had a backbeat now and then before that. There were a lot of songs with rock in the title before 1950. So it kind of evolved, I think, and what you see in the movie is the thing that really jump-started it was the solid body electric guitar and the amplifier that went with it. And all of a sudden the guitar guy could be the lead instrument. And every kid with a garage, or even without a garage, could start a band, which you can't do if you don't own a piano.
So how did you come up with a cast? You obviously, did you have these people in mind when you were writing it?
No, I try not to have a cast in mind when I write something, at least get through a couple drafts. And then you read what you've written and say, well, who would be perfect for this? And could we get them? So really, Danny Glover got on board very early, and even when we couldn't raise the money for a year, he stayed on board. And that helped, I think, get some of the other people in because he's such a respected guy within the industry. And then you just start asking the best actors you can think of, and in this case, an awful lot of them said yes. It was really great. We had days when we had like 12 or 13 incredible actors on the set, and it was kind of like a reunion because many had worked together before in theater or whatever. And that's, for a director, there's nothing that's more fun than just get a lot of talented people there and kind of set them loose. You direct their talents and you give them the box, but then they just start working with each other.
Well, I noticed, and I mentioned to them earlier, everyone had such great chemistry on set. It was almost like you had picked the perfect chemistry people and put them all together because it showed in the film, but even here you can see behind the scenes that they're all great chemistry together, even behind the scenes. Yeah,
a funny thing that happens in movies is people, I've been in a couple movies with people and I've never met them. I've been in 2 or 3 movies with them but never met them. So, as I said, it was like, oh, you're in this too, do we have a scene together? Oh, no, we don't. And so sometimes you get these nice reunions at these things where actors who were in the movie but didn't have a scene together, who were, we only had 5 weeks to shoot, but you could still miss each other. I think that, you know, it's my favorite part of the directing part of movies is to see actors hook up and really kind of challenge each other in a scene.
Exactly. Well, I want to thank you so much. I know you have a lot of people to talk to, so thank you so much, and say hello to everyone back home watching.
Hey, everybody. I hope you're not at work. I hope you're just at home.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful festival.